What's going on, internet? This is JD coming at you another video from Redskins Rant Hail to the Redskins. I want to apologize for the distance between the last video and this one. Actually, I had pneumonia in the last video. I didn't know it. I've had pneumonia about the last month, so it's been killing me. It's from coughing and just being very weak because I can't keep food down to like chest pain. I got to my shoulder and it even got in my spine, so I was like I couldn't move for a while. So that's why I haven't posted a video in a while. But this is kind of a follow-up video to my last one. I kind of made the last one right before we started doing free agency moves. So far that's what we're doing, and I'm kind of going to recap a little bit of that and add to it. So without further ado, our free agent pickups. If you see me looking over here, is where my computer is, so I'm not just looking off into the distance or whatever. So the free agency pickups are what our offseason moves basically so far what we've had. The first one we've done is sign Landon Collins. Excellent move in my opinion. And the contract, I know everyone's was a little bit iffy because of the amount of the contract. If you read the contract though, like we only owe him $4 million this year. We gave him his bonus up front, signing bonus, but it's spread out over the next few years. It's prorated. And like in 2 years from now, we can cut the guy for like $6 million if he's not producing. So it wasn't a bad it really was a good contract for us. He's getting a lot of money. A lot of it's up front, but it's prorated over time. And in a couple years, if he's not producing and we want to go a different direction, we have a lot of leeway to do that. We only have to take $6 million on the dead cap in 3 years to get rid of him. And then we owe nothing on the 4th year. So great signing. Here's why it's a great signing. One of the biggest issues the Redskins had last year was tackling on third down. Now, we tried signing HaHa Clinton-Dix to fix that, or trading for him. And I personally, and I'll stand by this, is I think that was the turning point in our season, was adding HaHa Clinton-Dix to our defense. Our defense was top 5 in pass or deep running, and then top 10 in passing. As soon as we got HaHa Clinton-Dix, I personally think they changed the scheme to kind of like let him get acclimated, and he just never did. So we never went back to being that dominant defense. But Landon Collins, he can tackle, he can cover. Everyone says he's a box safety. I think that's bullshit. The guy can play football, and the other thing is it's addition for us and subtraction for our opponents. He used to play for the Giants, so it's a big deal to us adding him to our roster. It makes us stronger, makes our opponents weaker. Okay, especially a team we got to play twice, and he was a headache. He was a headache for our quarterback. So that was the first one. The second one we traded for Case Keenum. I don't hate the trade, and I think we traded for him for 2 reasons. And I've heard the 2 reasons we traded for him. One, we just wanted to get a quarterback that we could afford, that could compete for the starting position. And the way it looks, I just saw that Colt McCoy is still in a cast. Case Keenum may be our only quarterback on the roster at this moment. So the other thing I've heard is that they got Case Keenum because they heard that the coach for Arizona really likes Case Keenum. He wants him to be like brought in as a veteran mentor for Kyler Murray, and that we traded for him so that we could, package him in a deal to get Josh Rosen. So I've heard both sides of it. If the first one's true and we don't end up, maybe we still get Josh Rosen, but we don't end up trading away Case Keenum. He's not like a horrible quarterback. Okay, he has his moments. Is he going to play like he did 2 years ago? No. 2 years ago, had the best possible situation he could have. Strong running game. He had 2 1,000-yard receivers. He had, everything went his way, plus a strong defense in Minnesota. So you're just not going to have that happen in Washington unless a lot of changes come that I'm about to go over here soon. So yeah, Landon Collins, we got him. I don't get this one, but maybe there's something that maybe they're thinking chemistry wise. I don't know. Last year we got Lander Skandrick on free agency and then we let him go. Maybe we're just trying to get intel on our opponents, which I don't know why we would sign Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie when we just signed Landon Collins. He was there sooner, but Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie actually retired last year and we paid him to bring him out of retirement. I don't get that for the life of me. As long as it's a cheap deal, I guess I'm okay with it. I don't get it. There were other free agents on the market we could have paid the same amount of money for. In fact, I think there's still free agents on the market right now that we could probably pay. They're younger, faster, and probably even cheaper. Let me search this right. I have the free agency. Brent Grimes would have been one. I would take Maurice Claiborne over him, for God's sakes. Rashawn Melvin, Tyron Webster. There's so many younger players that we could probably have gotten to give ourselves a better opportunity than to bring in I think he's like 34. I don't remember. Let me check. I don't know his age. Let me just Google search it. How old is Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie? 32-year-old. So he's not too super old, but I still don't like signing someone who's just retired. Yeah, he's rested, but he's also out of the game for a year. You just don't. I'm sorry. I personally don't like that. But he's on the team. Welcome to the Redskins, I guess. Erect Flowers. Man, we're getting a lot of guys who just play for the Giants. Eric Flowers was not a very good offensive lineman for them. I think what the Redskins are going to do is try to move him to guard. That way he doesn't have. I don't know. I didn't hate it because he wasn't expensive. And the problem we've had the last few years is we've had a lot of offensive line injuries. Now, what is the cause of that? I've heard a lot of reasons, and I'm just gonna say one that I've heard, and I think it makes sense. Is as much as Bill Callahan is probably the best offensive line coach in the NFL, there's rumor that he overworks the offensive line. Now that doesn't seem beyond the pale. Whenever the last 2 years we've had so many injuries on the offensive line, that something's going on. There's a black cat running around the offensive line crew or something. That many injuries have occurred over the last 2 years, and we've had that since we've signed Bill Callahan. So I don't think it's too much of a coincidence I don't think it's too much of a coincidence to ask that question. So we'll see. Maybe he's going to tone it back this year. But, when the offensive line's healthy, we're fine. And he does make, I think he even make Eric Flowers a decent offensive lineman. So we signed him. We signed Brian Quick. I don't know why the hell we just don't let Brian Quick go. I don't get it. I guess he does okay, and he's going to be a practice guy. But there's so many free agencies, wide receivers that we could have gotten that could be way more productive and helpful than Brian Quick. I don't understand it. Like I don't understand it. I'm about to jump into the mind. At the end of this, I'm going to try to get in the mindset of our current GM and decide what the hell they're doing. Because if they're trying to be like the Patriots, it's kind of okay because they're not doing a lot of free agency work. Seems like they're waiting to do stuff during the draft, which that would be the smart thing to do. It's the Bill Belichick way to do it. But you're also not doing the other stuff Bill Belichick would do, like get rid of big contracts, get rid of players that are on the downward swing that you're overpaying for, things like that. If you were to look at free agency, now I've heard this online. I'm still talking about our free agent signings, but I'm looping this in with another topic. I'm on a Redskin group, a couple of them, and there are a bunch of idiots that keep telling us, they're shouting from the treetops, we need to sign Dez Bryant and Pierre Garçon. I don't think they know that Dez Bryant is recovering from an Achilles tear. And an Achilles rupture is one of the worst injuries you can have in sports. It is really one of the worst. There's no push off. I had a friend of mine tear his in the middle of a basketball game, about a year ago. It was about a year ago now this time. I think it was more closer to May. Ruptured his Achilles. He couldn't put weight on it, and he's still recovering from it. Okay, and we're almost a year later. He still can't do a lot of things. Now, obviously, he's not a professional athlete, so he's not like maybe doing what an athlete would do to recover. But it's still an injury that you don't recover from in like 2 days or a week or something. It is like a 6 to 9 month injury recovery. A rupture of Achilles is not a fun injury at all. It's painful, and it's also just not something you recover from very quickly. It's something that you have to, it's meticulous, and you can't rush back from an Achilles tear either. You have to get back, and you have to be 100% before you come back. There are receivers that we could get that I think would help us much better than Des Bryant and Pierre Garçon. I'm looking at it right now. First one on the list is Demaryius Thomas. I'd rather add Demaryius Thomas, so I know Demaryius Thomas is getting injured very often. He's a good possession receiver. He's explosive. And, he is 31, but he's still not signed with the team. I'd rather have Demaryius Thomas than Des Bryant. That's all there is to it. If we were going to sign free agents, now what I think we're going to do is I think we're going to go heavy in the draft on some big name receiving weapons. I hope that's what I hope that's what we're doing. I hope we don't draft more defensive linemen. I think our defense is fine. I think our defense has done very well. We drafted it well. We don't need to keep adding depth to our defense in the first and second rounds. We've done it the last few years, and look what we have. We have solid Drawn Payne, who's going to be better this year. We have Matt Ioannidis, who's played great the last few years. Jonathan Allen's been fantastic. Okay, we still have Ryan Kerrigan. We have Ryan Anderson needs to show his worth. Sean Dion Hamilton came in last year whenever we needed him to play, and he played well. So I think this is his year where he actually gets into that sort of role. We have Reuben Foster. We have defensive players now. Okay, we don't need to keep adding stuff to the defense out of the first and second round and still have our stunted offense. That was one of our biggest flaws last year. Is we didn't have anything for any of our quarterbacks to throw to on a consistent basis. Okay, so I'd rather have Demaryius Thomas than them. I'd rather get Ryan Grant back. He's a free agent. I'd rather there's Martavius Bryant. I'd rather get him because you can get half those guys super cheap. And if they don't pan out, you cut them. You kick them out the door, kick their ass out the door before the season starts. That's why you do cuts. But bring them in the building, give it a chance. And then there's also one down here, Kevin White would be another one. He was very explosive in college. He just hasn't been healthy. He sat out most of last year. Now he's a free agent. So there's another one. There's a ton of receivers that are younger, more explosive, and just itching for that opportunity to prove themselves. I think that would be a better route to go than to keep going the route of signing old receivers. I don't know how old Brian Quick is. He's old. Pierre Garçon's 33. Des Bryant's only 30. I mean, he's not that old, but he's injured right now. I wanted him last year. I wanted a big receiver last year. But we don't need that right now. We need to, get some young guys in the building, see if they can actually show us a little bit of something. Free agency. Sorry, I gotta go back to that. Brian Quick, again, I don't get it. Adrian Peterson, I like the deal. Okay, I don't like the fact that we're gonna be splitting our carries with our young cowbell back with Adrian. Adrian Peterson wants 1,500 yards this year. I got a news flash. He is not going to get 1,500 yards this year unless Darius Geis gets hurt again. He's not. It'd be nice. I mean, if him and Darius Geis get combined 1,900 yards or something. One has 1,200, one has 700. I'm great with that. But there's no way in hell Adrian Peterson's going to get 1,500 yards rushing this year because he's not going to get the amount of carries. Last year he got a bulk of the carries. We didn't really put anyone else in until he was injured. But I mean, he is as hard as he ran. He only got 1,042 rushing yards last year, and he's going to get less carry. I just don't see it happening. And whenever he's going to be in the game, there's only two things you can do. You can run the ball to him, or you can play action with him. Darius Geis can do running out of the backfield, catch the ball. Same with Chris Thompson, so on and so forth. So I just don't see it happening. But I'm glad we re-signed him because veteran leadership in the running back position is actually, I think, very important, especially with Darius Geis. They said that they really liked working with Adrian Peterson. They really liked being around him. The running backs did. So keeping him, we can get rid of Samaje Perine finally. We can get rid of Rob Kelly. I didn't mind the other, Byron Marshall and the other running backs that we had. Yeah, it looks stupid, my bad. Looks like I got Dumbo ears. Any other free agency? Yeah, that's pretty much our free. We signed a lineman named Zach Karen. I don't know who that is. I said we re-signed him. I guess that he's one of those linemen we brought in whenever we were losing half our offensive line. So that's pretty much our free agency plus what we traded for. And again, don't mind Case Keenum. As long as he doesn't have a kind of year like he had last year, he had a lot of turnovers. But I think Jay Gruden's a better offensive-minded coach than when he had last year, so I think he'll do a better job of putting him in situations to be successful. As of right now, it looks like he's our starter because Colt walking around the cast, he was supposed to not be injured. His injury wasn't supposed to, he almost like came back. Like if we were in the playoffs, he would have came back and played. That's what the rumor was. Now he has another surgery that he's had since, freaking December or November. He got injured in December. It was like the first week in December. And he's still having surgeries on, I didn't think he had like a serious, like really bad injury. But, yeah, so anyway, so now I want to go over like some of it's estimated we have like $2.6 million in cap space overall. And our top 51, which is our estimated like starting week roster, is $12 million left in salary cap. I still think we can do some things to give ourselves some cap space. I want to retract something I said last time. Last time I said that we need to trade Trent Williams, yada, yada, yada. Okay, my reasoning for trading him was, one, he got injured a lot the last few years. I thought he missed a lot of games. After double-checking that, he hasn't missed as many as I thought. I thought he missed like half of one season and like another 6 games another, so that's like 14 games over 2 seasons. Wasn't like that. He missed like 6 one year and he missed like 4 last year, like 3 or 4 last year. So that's not too bad. And again, he's one of the best offensive linemen in the league. That was my thought process. My thought process was if he keeps getting injured, we need to trade him before. We need to trade him before he gets injured again, and then he has low trade value. That was my thought process. And then obviously, whoever we trade him to, he has a player option next year. He could leave and then come back and retire as a Redskin, and we can get him on a much more good deal for us, so to speak. But here's 2 players, or 3 players, I think we should still move on from. Josh Norman. Apparently not going to trade him. He fits the system way too well. It's not that I don't like Josh Norman. I think he's a good player. But he's $14 million of our cap, and I don't think 7.5% of our cap should be eaten up by Josh Norman. I think we could play some of our younger guys. I think if we coach them well, we can play some of our younger guys. We could even get a free agent that's pretty talented. We could draft somebody, so on and so forth. So we have all these young guys we've drafted. We just have them sitting behind other players, not getting their opportunity to play. And, I mean, that could save us $8.5 million. So right there, we have enough money to go get, to go get other players, to get a receiver, to fill an offensive line hole, to maybe get an edge rusher that's in free agency, whatever case may be. And we also, another player is Jordan Reed. Jordan Reed is the player I want to get rid of the most. It's not that Jordan Reed's not a good player. It's he's not a good get on the field and play player. Okay? His worst ability is availability. He is never able to play. He's injury prone. He is soft as cottonelle tissue. Okay? And I think the team to trade him to is the Patriots. The Patriots are still in that Super Bowl ready, let's go get it mentality. I think if we get on the phone with them and offer them Jordan Reed and maybe like a third round, like we get a third rounder, I think they can take him off our hands. That would save us $6.67 million. So if you traded those 2 players, or just cut those 2 players even, right there you're adding 8.5 and 6.6 million. That's $15.4 million or whatever the case may be. Or 14.9, sorry. $14.9 million. No, 15.1. I'm sorry, $15.1 million. I can't add. So that right there alone, I'm sorry, we dead cap's 3,600, not 3,000, or 3.6 million, not 3 million. So we would get $6 million in cap space. So you're looking at $14.5 million is what we would have after getting rid of those 2. The next one on my list is Vernon Davis. Vernon Davis I love Vernon Davis. I've liked him since he came out of college. I liked him when he played for the 49ers. I liked him when he played for us. But last year he had a very underproductive season. He dropped a lot of good key passes. And when we have a quarterback who's trying to get acclimated to our system and we keep taking steps back and not catching the ball whenever he's starting to do things right, I just don't think that we are doing the best we can do to be better. And I thought he kind of hindered us a little bit last year in that regard. But in all essence of it, he would save us $5 million as well by getting rid of him. So if you cut those 3 players, you're looking at almost $20 million. So you're adding $20 million, and there's still another player I would cut. But I guess he hit some kind of like time frame where if he's still on the roster past a certain point, his guaranteed money goes up this year or something. Because when I did this video before, Morgan Moses, I would actually cut him and take the loss personally. Morgan Moses was like, his salary was 6.9, and he had to pay out like $5 million. Now it's $10.45 million. I don't like Morgan Moses. I know a lot of people like him, but he does so many things that makes us uncompetitive. He had more penalty yards than anyone else in the league last year, because he would hold on every single possession. And when we had an offense, and we didn't have a great offense last year, okay, we had a strong running game, and we were trying to get the passing game going. Anytime we would get momentum going, he holds somebody. Now we're 10 yards behind the sticks, and we can barely, we didn't do a great job converting last year, and now you're putting our offensive, our quarterback and our running back and our receiver 10 yards back, and then we got to start over. It's just fucking stupid, pardon my French, that guy is still on the field. Like, literally at the beginning of the game, they need to tape his hands so he can't hold anyone. Because he does it so much, because he has bad footwork. He's a big-bodied guy, so he tries to use his body and just get in people's way, which it works sometimes. But when you're on the right side and your best offensive lineman's on the left side, what the defense does is they put their best defensive lineman against our right tackle. They put him against our right tackle, and the problem that does for us, the problem with that is Morgan Moses is not as good at blocking as Trent Williams, obviously, so that leads to a lot of sacks, because the best defensive player on the other team, or defensive lineman, is going against one of our worst linemen when it comes to moving, when it comes to everything. Okay? So that's why I don't like him, but right now it would cost us about $4 million to cut him. So I'm guessing I have to change my opinion on that just a little bit, because I don't want to, it's $4 million, and really we'd have to replace him anyway, so it costs more to get rid of him. So that was initially someone I wanted to cut a long time ago, but those 3 players we need to cut. We can still cut Mason Foster and save $4 million. So that would put us over $20 million, and we can use that towards free agents. We can fill gaps. But if we're not going to do any of that stuff, if we're not going to do any of that, if we're not going to, go get free agents, we're not going to get a wide receiver to help us out. If we're not going to get any of that shit, don't do anything. It's stupid. If we're not going to go get any good players, we're not going to do anything to help our team out. It just, that whole idea of trading players and things like that. Maybe if we get the draft pick, that would help, but it's pointless at that point. So unless you're going to go spend the money, there's no point in opening up cap space. So, let me see if there's one more thing I want to talk about here. Okay, draft needs. Here's what I think that the Redskins need to do this offseason. This draft coming up. There are some studs in this draft. Okay? I'm going to bring up their names just to be safe. There are some studs in this draft. Okay? And there are some players that I would like the Redskins to make a concerted effort to go get. We need to try to go, I don't want to say all in, but we need to try to go all in a sense on getting players. Let me see if I got the right one. No, that's not the one I want. There we go. We need to go all in on the Redskins on getting the offense working. We need to go all in on getting players. Now, I talked about trading away Jordan Reed or getting rid of Vernon Davis and Jordan Reed. I think we have 2 decent tight ends on our roster right now. We have Matt Flanagan, who is a tight end from Pitt, and we have Jeremy Sprinkle. I think we draft a tight end in this draft to kind of solidify a 3 tight end rotation, or get a third, or get a 4th one as well. So, the players that I think the Redskins need to go get. I don't think we need to be going and trading up and getting a quarterback unless they're hell-bent on getting a quarterback. I mean, I don't personally think they should do that. Okay? I don't. Okay? We need to try, and we need to trade up and build this offense this season. I think our defense is pretty good. Our defense proved last year they can have moments of being good if they have a consistent crew on there. Whenever we put someone else on there, the chemistry went away. And we faltered. Okay? The first person I think we need to make a concerted effort to go get is tight end T.J. Hawkinson. Okay? We need to have 2 good players that we draft in this draft that are offensive weapons, that are going to be offensive weapons for the next 5 to 10 years, easily. T.J. Hawkinson is the best tight end in this draft. I think the Redskins need to go get him. Okay? Now, 2 of our mock drafts, I'm looking at them right now, is one of them has us trading up for Drew Lock, which is a horrible idea. The guy can't throw in the run. If he's not in the pocket, he can't throw. And he can't throw super great in the pocket either. He doesn't have the arm strength. If he throws on the run, he's wildly inaccurate. Okay? So if our offensive line gets any kind of injuries, we're screwed. Don't do Drew Lock. Okay? Get Will Greer in like the 3rd or 4th round. Okay? He's much better. He's 6'4". He can throw faster, throw harder, and all he has to do is work a little bit on his mechanics, but he can throw on the run, and he's an athlete. Okay? So what we need to do, and this is what they have us actually pretty close to what I want. We need to get T.J. Hawkinson, who's the tight end I want. Now, they have one of our drafts that's getting Noah Fant from, I guess from Iowa. I don't know. Yeah, that's fine. But I would like T.J. Hawkinson. He's by far the best in this draft. I think he's the next Travis Kelce. So he's the one that I would prefer. And we also need to go get, there's 2 wide receivers I think we can make a concerted attempt to get. Marcus Brown, which is what they have us drafting in one of them, and DK Metcalf. The Redskins need a Megatron. We don't have a big, solid, #1 target. We don't have that. Okay? The Redskins do not have that. We need a big, solid, #1 target. That is what the Redskins need. So get a big, solid Redskins target that can just throw the ball up and let him go get it. And actually, DK Metcalf's a burner. He's fast. He's a big, fast athlete. Now, if we groom him right, we can make him into a #1 receiver, an elite #1 receiver. Okay? And you pair that up with T.J. Hawkinson, and we still have, Dotson, which I can go over that if you want, but Dotson we can't get rid of because it costs more to get rid of him than to keep him. And Paul Richardson, same thing. Imagine an offense where you're looking at DK Metcalf as your #1 receiver. Dotson can now be a #2, which is what he truly is. And then Paul Richardson can run in the slot as our 3rd weapon, and we have T.J. Hawkinson. There's going to be and then obviously we have Geis, we have Geis, and then we have Adrian Peterson and Chris Thompson. That is an offense that we can actually do well with, and I still say we need to trade and get Josh Rosen. If we got Josh Rosen and put that kind of weapons around him, and Jay Gruden's offense, Josh Rosen got a bad deal last year. Worst offensive line, at least statistically. Okay, the coach, he had no weapons. His best weapon, first off, like David Johnson didn't even show up last year. He didn't play well. So he had no running game. There's no play action. His best receiving weapon was Larry Fitzgerald. And his offensive coordinator, I think it's Mike McCoy, got fired like midway through the season. No quarterback is going to be successful under that. I'm sorry. No quarterback at all is going to be successful under those terms. Especially a rookie. Okay? I think we bring him in and we have a solidified offensive line. We add the weapons that I want to add. Okay? And after these 2 picks, get some offensive linemen and then build the rest of our, add some depth to our defense and things like that. That's what I think we need to do in this draft. But I would not be opposed. So let's say we can trade up and we don't have to get rid of our 15th pick. Trade up, get rid of next year's 1st round pick. We got to make sure that Jay Gruden can actually coach an offense. Okay, that's not run by Kirk Cousins. Okay, we need to make sure that we can do that. Get him a quarterback. Get in Josh Rosen. Get him a big receiver. Go get DK Metcalf, or if you want to get Marquise Brown, that's fine too. And then go get him a tight end so that let's say we can't get rid of Jordan Reed. Now you're looking at Jordan Reed and Hawkinson. And then Vernon Davis is our third tight end. Holy Jesus, it's an incredible offensive weapon if we can't even get rid of Jordan Reed. Okay, there's just so many options out of that, but we need to make the concerted effort. I don't care if we give up next year's draft picks. Make an attempt, trade up, get DK Metcalf, get some players, give away third-round picks that we're not going to use much, give away stuff that are not going to pan out for us, and try to go a little bit all in on making our offense better. That's what needs to happen this draft. The closer we get, the more we're going to know about what the Redskins really need. So if the week before the draft the Redskins trade and they get Josh Rosen, okay, we know that they're going all in. Him versus Case Keenum, those two are the quarterbacks, so on and so forth. But that's what I think the Redskins need to do. They really need to go all in, get the offensive weapons, stop signing these old free agencies, stop just relying on the guys that we've drafted 3 years ago that haven't really panned out. Let's go get some guys that are showing some really explosive talent, and if we I'm just telling you, if you can imagine it with me, DK Metcalf, #1 receiver, Josh Dotson on the other side, Paul Richardson in the slot, and you have TJ Hawkinson at the tight end spot, or you can put freaking Jordan Reed at the slot and not have Paul Richardson in at all, and you can have that kind of rotation with the running back in the backfield, or you can do 5 wide and have Hawkinson, Reed, Paul Richardson, all that. There's so much you can do out of that. Okay? And you're giving Josh Rosen options. I think we need to go all in on this year in this draft, especially with the talent available and what we need to do this year to prove that Jay Gruden's a coach. So let's say we go all in and Jay Gruden, we hit the playoffs, man. We hit 12-4 and we do great. We win a playoff game. I don't know, maybe we're like 1 game away from the Super Bowl or something. We've proven, okay, with a good defense and you give Jay Gruden weapons with Josh Rosen, we can do this. Okay, this team is good. Okay? Now I'm going to take 2 seconds, and I know we're on 30 minutes, so I'm going to try to be fast with this. And I'm going to look, I'm trying to put myself in the mindset of the front office, see what they've done so far and what they think they're going to be doing going forward. Their thought process, and this is actually something that I've thought about too, is last year, now, I'm going to be honest with you. If you go back and look at one of my old videos, I predicted we were going to leave 11-5 or 10-6. 11-5, 10-6 was my prediction for what I think the Redskins were going to be in it last year. Okay, that was my prediction. I swear to God, you can go watch my video from last year before the season even started. That was my prediction. Now, think about it as if you're the front office. Last year, the Redskins were 6-2 at one point in the season, 6-2. When the offensive line was healthy, the running game was solid, the defense was solid. Alex Smith wasn't playing the greatest because he's still kind of learning the offense, but he wasn't turning the ball over. We had the lowest turnover percentage in the league. We had one of the best running attacks in the league and one of the best defenses. So their thought process was, well, we were 6-2 before all the injuries happened. You had breaking legs. You had offensive line getting injured. You have quarterbacks breaking their legs. Entire offensive line going out. And then the backups going out. Everything. And the Redskins' thought process at that point is listen, we were 6-2 and we got injured. So if we, keep a lot of this team intact and we just don't get injured, we're looking at, we would have been, 11-5. We're a team that we would have been close to 11-5, 10-6, maybe 12-4, area. And a lot of the games late we would have won if we'd have played in the beginning of the season. We'd have beat Philadelphia if we'd have played them early. Okay? We'd have beat Dallas if we'd have played them again with the same squad. So there's a lot of teams we would have played late. If we'd have played them early, we'd have won because we were a better running team. Let me see the schedules to make sure I'm not making this up. Now my internet's decided to be slow. Okay. Okay, well, reliable. Phone will work. Washington Redskins 2018 season. Okay, there we go. So the Washington Redskins. So they finished 7-9, and that's with, you know, all those injuries. Like I said, they missed all those injuries. So the injury to what's his name, the quarterback, happened against the Texans. We should have beat the Texans. We had a pass interference that was not called that would have got us in field goal range, and we should have won the game anyway even without Alex Smith. But Dallas, we lost 23-31. I think we would have beat them. I think we definitely beat the Giants again. Our team was just so out of it at that point. And I think we'd beat Tennessee. So right there's 10 wins. 10 wins. And I still think we'd beat the Eagles, but I can't prove that because we got spanked by the Eagles. So I think we'd beat Houston. I think we'd beat Dallas. That would have been a closer game. Let's just say we lose both the Eagles games. We still would have beat Giants and we still would beat Titans. So there's 4 games right there that we could have won if we just would have been healthy. So that's the Redskins' thought process is, you know, we're not, or 4 games? 5 games. Yeah, I think it's 5 games at that point. So I think that's the front office's mindset. That we don't have to go out and get like 9 different guys because all we got to do is replace some of the parts we missed. We're missing Swearinger, so let's go get Landon Collins. You know, we're missing, I think they're going to draft receivers, so we're not worried about it. But we didn't really lose much off our roster. We cut 2 guys, so that was good. And the 2 guys we cut, I'm actually kind of glad we cut. Again, that gave us a little bit of cap space. Not going to go too much into anything else right now. The video is getting 37 minutes long, and I don't want to hold up any more of your time. I do appreciate you watching to this point. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I really think the Redskins need to go all in and get some offensive weapons. They really need to. We got a running back. We got a defense that is young and is only going to get better through practice and, you know, the offseason. Players improve. Okay, players improve. And we need to get a Megatron-like receiver, a big number 1 that draws a lot of attention, draws double teams. And I think we need to get a tight end to either pair with Jordan Reed, or when Jordan Reed's gone, he's going to replace Jordan Reed. That's really what I think we need to do. We do those things and keep our offensive line healthy. We're going to have a very successful season this year. People really do sleep on the Redskins. The Redskins are not a bad team. They haven't been a bad team in a while. The problem is they're just an unlucky team right now. Injuries are a big part of football, and I get that good teams overcome that. When you lose an entire offensive line, that's really difficult to overcome. When your starting quarterback breaks his leg, really difficult to overcome. I mean, the only quarterback I know that's consistently been able to overcome those things was Gibbs. Gibbs was able to take a scab team and win games and things like that. Not every coach can do that. Okay, that was something Gibbs was good at personnel and working personnel. It's not Jay Gruden's thing. Jay Gruden is good at offense, and I think he's good at getting the most out of what he's got. I'll give him that. But there's a reason why Chip Kelly never succeeded in the NFL. Chip Kelly would get rid of really talented players for system guys. Okay? We need to get really talented players and squeeze them and try to work them into our system. This is going to get 40 minutes. I'm not going to go that long. It's JD. Thanks for watching. See ya.